All right, what's going on, boys and girls? So this particular video, we're going to be looking at somebody who is going to be trying Linux, specifically Ubuntu, for a month. Title of the video is Windows User Using Ubuntu for a Month, ... challenge, or whatever, day one. So this is kind of my initial reaction to see how they use it. And I don't think this is going to be a lot of yelling and screaming because this is more of a person exploring. So those that are probably, you'll still hear swearing, but you're not going to hear ranting and raving about stupid, which unfortunately, this person's seeking knowledge, so I'm not going to kind of kibosh that, unfortunately. So, for those that like the yelling and screaming portions of my videos, probably not going to have it on this one.
Okay peeps, so today I'm going to be installing Ubuntu. I'm recording this from my phone, well, because, I don't have anything else. I'm broke. But yeah, I'm going to be installing Ubuntu, and the reason is because I'm going to be using it for an entire month. And I have used Ubuntu in the past, but never as like a daily driver. So this is going to be interesting.
So that's like the story of everyone's life. For the longest time, Linux was always, doesn't matter the distro, Linux was always the other machine OS. It wasn't the primary computer. It was always the other machine. And about 2012, that changed for me. So challenges like these are actually pretty nice to see, because what ends up happening is you end up finding what you do and don't need from an OS because you've at least experienced it. So what you're looking for is you're not speaking from a place of ignorance. You're speaking from a place of, what you need. And that's totally fine with that. And obviously he said that he has had prior experience with Ubuntu, kind of like, from what it sounds like, my experience, where it was always the other machine.
A Windows user, so it's going to be quite interesting. Just trying to see if, first of all, if it could be done by someone who is primarily a Windows user, right? And
so the thing is, it can be done by anyone. It's just whether or not your willingness is there. The biggest recommendation I'm going to make is it's not just about the apps, which is also a very high need, but also a willingness. People always go into this mentality of, well, it can't run Windows apps. Well, no crap and no shit. Mac OS can't run most Windows apps either. So, and Windows sure as shit can't run a DMG. So I find it ironic that the biggest complaint is it doesn't have Windows applications. It's not a Windows platform. It's not a Mac platform. It's kind of a novel idea.
Also, the thing it'll be fun. There's not much to do, and why not do this? And yes, it's gonna be it's gonna be the thing that I primarily use. And we'll see what happens. I'm not gonna be using Windows or anything else, except for like Android, obviously, because it's like my phone. But this is gonna be my primary thing. This is where I'm gonna edit all the videos. I'm gonna do all of my stuff that I do, gaming, everything. Hopefully it goes well, right?
So if your recommendations, video editing, be willing to try all the video editors. That means DaVinci Resolve, that means Lightworks, that means some of the more esoteric ones that are a little kind of hard to install on an Ubuntu base, like Cinelira GG, Lives, TV, OpenShot, Kden Live, Shotcut, Flowblade. Find which one's going to work best for you, because everyone's got a different kind of workflow and different kind of requirements of what they need for videos, etc., etc. So First recommendation, gaming. Do not approach this as a Windows drop-in replacement. There are going to be games, as with console, that you cannot play and understand that. Games that severely rely on things like EAC or BattleEye generically are not going to work or play nice on Linux, and that's because of a middleware problem. Those anti-cheat programs. That is not a can't run on Linux. It can't run because of a middleware problem. There's a very big distinction of Linux doesn't have the ability to run it. No, Linux has the ability to run it. It's whether or not it's supported or whether or not it's even able to made to be run on it, as opposed to what most of the time these anti-cheat softwares do is they say, hey, Linux hacker. And that's like an idiotic mentality. So ProtonDB is going to be a resource that gets recommended a lot. So for those that are going to recommend it, take the ratings with a grain of salt. Look for the most recent ones, which are the thumbs up, and look for the generic Steam Play options. You're going to hear a lot of people tell you, oh, use a custom version of Proton, etc., etc. Depending on your type of gaming experience you are looking for, don't fucking listen to that. Vanilla Proton, which is like 5.3.4, I believe right now, that is the click enable and click big blue button for install, click big green play button mentality. If you want to get down and dirty, installing custom Protons is really not that hard. It's just kind of obnoxious, to be brutally honest. Especially when updates come out. I know there's a flat hub, there's some type of flat pack way to do it now, though, that might automate that. I know there's also an install script for automating that process, but still, not the most easy way for a enjoyable gaming experience. You'll get things like Lutris thrown out there. It depends on, I'm going to be real, it depends on your mentality to gaming. For me, I tend to view more Linux in a game console mentality as opposed to a Windows PC gaming mentality. So games that aren't going to work are going to be your PUBGs, your Fortnites, and stuff that heavily rely on that stuff. What's the Ghost Recon game, Wildlands, and a few others that just aren't going to work. That's just what it is. So, just a fair forewarning for you.
So I just got done installing Ubuntu. It was exciting. So just gonna go through like the first steps here, and it's gonna be very boring. So I'm just gonna cut to stuff, or maybe the end. I'm not sure, but we'll switch to the screen capture after this, because I know not everyone wants to hear me talk through a phone. So yeah. Oh hey, I'm back. I just installed Ubuntu, and I ran into a little hiccup when I installed it. I had install third-party driver selected, and the installation failed because of that apparently. So I had to unselect everything and just do everything, once I installed it. So I just did all the boring stuff first, updated it, installed the drivers, the proprietary drivers, installed the restricted extras, stuff that I'll be needing to use this OS. And now I'm gonna walk you guys through some of the things that I do when I to my Ubuntu setup, I guess. First of all, I install extensions, as I think a lot of us do, because some of Ubuntu's extensions aren't to my taste, to my liking, and and I just want some other extensions. So and why not do the one that comes with Ubuntu? So yeah. I don't remember the URL. I go to some of and I just want some other extensions. So we're gonna go to GNOME. It's just I don't remember the URL. I think it's extensions.gnome.org, and it is extensions.gnome.org. Click here to install the extension for the browser, and now we could install some extensions. So the first one I'm gonna install is user themes, and that's just an extension that lets you install themes because it's not enabled by default in Ubuntu. I'll install Open Weather later and other stuff.
Well, so the themes thing is kind of that's a GNOME thing. They don't like people changing their style sheets. That's basically what it boils down to. That's a very simplified argument as far as like why, but generically GNOME has a very particular way they like things, and people don't do it that way, so they get a little annoyed, so they kind of take that out by default.
I do wanna disable one extension that Ubuntu ships with, and that's the dock, because I'm gonna install my own dock, and that is dash to dock. I just prefer this one over the one that Ubuntu ships with. It's kind of the same thing. Ubuntu's is a fork of this dock, but I just like the window previews look better on this one than they do on the one from Ubuntu, the one that comes with Ubuntu. So yeah, I'm gonna install Steam.
How dare you, good sir, have personal preferences? You are not allowed to select them if I do not approve of them. Note the irony and me being a total sarcastic douche about that. Nah, do what's you know, as far as like preferences. Plasma, Enlightenment, take your pick. It doesn't matter. Use whatever window manager, headless server, bash, whatever. Doesn't matter. Use what works for you.
I'm gonna download Steam. I don't know, I'm gonna install it here. But yeah, I'm gonna need Steam to do things, to do gaming things. So save file, and I'm not gonna install it here because then blah blah blah. Takes too much time, I guess. I'm gonna install. The next thing I'm gonna do is just download some themes. So gnomeluck.org. I think that's the URL. Hopefully it is, and it is the URL. And that's interesting. So yeah, I'm just gonna install the Yaru colors because I like the default, but I wish there were more color options for the default. I wish this would come by default. I said default too many times, but I wish this would come by default in Ubuntu, right? Like we want the option to like have different colors for our theme. And this guy, I think Yanomag, I think that's his name, or Janomaj, or I don't know. I'm completely butchering his name, but or their name. I don't know who this person might be. They are a god. They're a godsend. This is a great project, and yeah, so this is basically what I do anytime I install an Ubuntu instance. I have not used this as a daily driver though. I just know that this is sort of the stuff that I used to install when I used to just play around with with Ubuntu back in the day, or played around with GNOME Shell. Actually, I wasn't that big of a fan of Unity, honestly. I know people are like, but
So, personal opinion, totally fine. As the Unity guy, I'm still going to say Unity is what GNOME should have been. Just my take. And GNOME 3, specifically the shell, get really Unity-like. And if you go back and use some of the early documentation and UX design for GNOME Shell, like 2008, 2009, really, really, really early stuff, didn't look like Unity. And what we got now kind of looks like Unity. Just saying.
Unity's great. I love Unity, but I just prefer GNOME Shell or GNOME Shell or whatever. So yeah, that's basically what I do. And after this is done installing, I'll show you how my desktop looks like after everything is done. So yeah, see you then. So I'm pretty much done with all the preparation that I'm gonna do, and for the next weeks or so, or for this week, I'm gonna try to find some alternatives to the stuff that I use for productivity and games in Windows, which is gonna be kind of difficult because I do like me a bit of FIFA, and Origin is not available on Linux, but we will see if there are alternatives out there. I know that I could maybe install Pez.
Okay, so Origin kind of works on Linux. Lutris with whatever install scripts are currently available. My only caveat that I'll give you there is with Lutris, sometimes clients, when they get updated, they break. And then you're stuck waiting for updates sometimes. So if you're not a problem solver and if you're not one to be patient, Lutris is a great project, and it's great to see that so many different services running on it. But sometimes when stuff breaks. So I recommend caution a bit when people run to Lutris as a savior of everything. It's great, but tell some people how well it works when WoW breaks. Tell people how well it works when the Epic Game Store updates and that breaks. Or, insert game. Sometimes just wait is not the answer for some people. And that's okay. So, Lutris is one. If you're a GOG gamer, Mini Galaxy is a client. If you want a default Epic Games Store, I believe it's Heroic Game Launcher, if I'm not mistaken, is the name. Is kind of a new one that came out that allows you to install and try some of your Epic Store games, etc. Obviously Steam. So there are plenty of options, and there are plenty of actually open source options too. So
from Steam using their compatibility layer, I forgot what it's called.
Proton.
And I could maybe also look for some other options, some sketchy options, I guess. I don't know.
So the options really aren't that sketchy. They're usually GitHubs. They're usually ones that are vetted by the community. They're usually ones that have had source code checked. They're usually ones that other people are involved with, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, like I said, Heroic Game Launcher, Lutris, Mini Galaxy, and obviously Steam. Lutris will either cover your Uplay, Origin stuff, Mini Galaxy for your GOG, Steam for obviously for Steam, and Heroic will cover your Epic games. Whether or not that works is another story, because I don't know which version of FIFA you like, but I do know that FIFA 21 is available on Steam. I don't know how well that's going to work through Steam Play, going through, Origin and all, or EA Play or whatever the hell they're calling it now. So I don't know that, but just a recommendation. You might be able to try Proton that way and keep it within Steam and kind of minimize how many different launchers and stuff you might have to have. Just some recommendations.
But yeah, here's all the stuff that I've installed. Got Steam installed. I haven't logged in yet or anything, but it's installed. I've installed Audacity, GIMP, which is a image editor like Photoshop but free. Caden Live, which is like Premiere Pro sort of, or Sony Vegas, whatever video editor you want to use or that you're familiar with. It's analogous to that. And OBS to record. It's basically what I'm using to record both my microphone and the screen. So yeah, it's basically all I've done. And also I've installed a new theme here. You can see the file constantly updating as I record. But yeah, I've installed a new theme from the Yaru themes, and I've installed some fonts just because I made this wallpaper here, which is just for my personal use. I don't know if I could distribute it because it doesn't use Creative Commons fonts. But yeah, it is what it is. So I'll see you guys in a week. See how I do with using Ubuntu Linux as my main desktop operating system. This is going to be quite the thing. Alright, peace.
Alright, so that's kind of his video. I really go into it with an open mind. Don't go into it thinking it's Windows. Don't go into it thinking it's Mac OS. Go into it like if you went from Android to BlackBerry 10 or WebOS from Android, expect a different experience. And you have messed around with it before. You're knowledgeable enough about extensions and a few other things, so that definitely helps. It shows a willingness to learn and explore, kind of customize things how you want. Gaming is definitely going to be a thing. ProtonDB right now is probably your best alternative. There's a drop down on ProtonDB in the selection for Tinker Reports and Steam Play. I'm gonna suggest stick with the Steam Play because the Tinker Reports can get annoying, to say the least. It depends how many wine tricks and proton tricks and command launch options and all these other kind of nonsensical things that most gamers aren't going to jump through to get a game to freaking work. So be wary of some of the gold rated games. So for me, I would just say filter to generic Steam Play. And if you want, and the most tinkering I would recommend is probably downloading Glorious Eggroll and installing it and using that. That's about as far as I'd recommend for the tinkering to do when it comes to gaming. Again, Mini Galaxy, Heroic, Luterus, if you really insist on Origin or EA Play or whatever the hell they're calling it. Works for Uplay, works for Battle.net, Blizzard, whatever the hell they're calling that. And obviously Steam. And if you're a FIFA guy, FIFA 21 is available on Steam, so I don't know if that's actually going to be able to play over on the Linux end through Proton. Might be worth a shot. So overall, I'm interested. I'm curious. I'm going to wait a few more days to see what his take is on his first week of videos, as far as making stuff. And just keep an open mind, bud. It's 30 days. You'll get to learn the ins and outs of stuff that you may have not liked. Do like, take your pick. Really up to you. So look forward to it. Catch you guys on the flip. Indie Gala, Patreon, all that crap's down below. You guys know what to do. Peace.